what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait to see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. Never raise up a white flag. Didn't come this far just to turn back. The curtains fall for the last act. Breaking that levee, breaking that levee. We don't back down. This is what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait to see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. We don't back down. This is what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait to see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary.
I got metal running through my bones, a resurrection like a ghost. Hurricane, go ahead and blow. Where you could keep your white flag, I'll never fold. A shadow on the battlefield, a survivor never yield. A thunder, go ahead and shade. Don't run from the storm when I feel the rain. There's no rest for the wicked, no victory for the weak. And when the weeds getting thicker, you'll never see me on my knees. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. I got a fever in my blood, a falling embers from above. I feel the heat when the pressure blows, a wildfire that you can't control. There's no rest for the wicked, no victory for the weak. And when the weeds getting thicker, you'll never see me on my knees. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. With every beat of my heart, I'll be the light in the dark. You You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and the moment that many has been waiting for is upon us. We welcome you to season number 11 of the Northwest Racing Series. Of course, the trucks are ready to go at virtual Daytona. I've got my home apartment background. I don't know how in the world my buddy gets a nice background setting like I don't get, but we're going to have to talk about that. I'm Wesley Outland. Jason Rockefeller is alongside. We are at virtual Daytona, and welcome to a new year. Jason, you missed qualifying, you missed the duels, but the field is set for 200 miles to open up season 11 of the Northwest Trucks. Welcome back, my friend.
Well, I'm here. I don't know about you. You're still at home. I'm here, though, man. But I'm ready to go. I have been pumped. I've been ready to go. Hey, listen, it doesn't matter. He's still here in spirit with us, so forget about it. Oh, hold on. Let him pull up. All right, he got to pull up. There you go. He's got the green screen ready to go. He's got it held up behind him. But, hey, we're ready to go, man. There was some great action I saw from last night's duels, obviously. I saw some great one. Look at dude, this guy's Superman over here. This is night one, and we're already doing this stuff. This is crazy.
Welcome back, brother. Welcome back.
Well, hey, we're back up here, man. It's nice to see everybody's face
This
for
looks like
once.
a bed sheet.
You know, it is. I think that might be your bed sheet here after you're probably done, because you're going to go to bed and you're just going to fall asleep on the floor. But listen, hey, all jokes aside,
man.
we're ready to go. This was a stellar, fantastic race last year. Caden Anderson obviously picked up the victory in a chaotic last lap. Robert Gamble won duel 1. Troy Daggett, second year in a row, he's picked up his duel win over in duel number 2 last night. We're looking forward to it, man. I'm excited to see. Obviously, this is the start of a new race, the start of the next, could be the next 10 years. We've seen 10 seasons. Now we're hitting season 11, so I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a good one.
It all started back in 2016. Couple of years have had multiple seasons, but for the last probably 2019 to now, it's been one season only. But the Trucks is the premier program for the Northwest, and the best iRacing drivers of the Northwest Pacific U.S. are ready to battle here at Daytona. Now, the question is, with new faces, new places, new trucks, new numbers, new teams, Jason, who could break through and have that monster win here at Daytona that can, if you run enough races, propel yourself into the playoffs right out of round number 1?
Yeah, I'm looking down here at the leaderboard to see if I'm seeing anybody new. You know, I mean, we have drivers, obviously, like Chase Carrillo. I heard you guys talk about him, obviously, last night. New driver to the series. Maybe we'll see what he's got. Does he have what it takes to compete with these drivers of the Northwest, region? Few other guys, too, It's hard to not talk about it, man, but Clifford, we saw how good he was in the offseason and those off-season races. We saw how good he was at the tail end of last year. Drivers like him, Brett Johnson, another one who was really strong at the tail end of last season. Does he have what it takes Frank Harris, man, we were so used to when I came over here to LSR. Frank was always in the back. He was always getting involved in wrecks. And then all of a sudden, it's like the light bulb came on with Frank, man. He just started cooking off great runs. Podium last night in the duels. Joshua Marcy as well. So many guys who are just getting better and better as the seasons go on. The off seasons happen on track time. And then there's the drivers like the West, father and son, Devin and Dan West Jr. Coming back. Tyler King, former Truck Series champion, Stephen O'Hare, Kevin Smith, Ryan Bloom, Dennis Moore. This is going to be a fun one, man. I think this might very well be the most competitive season we've seen.
And as always, get ready for the exciting production, some new features and more along the way this season by the man, the wizard, Mr. Charles Wooten, ready to man production. And he'll chime in for commentary along the way as well. Drivers meeting is just about ready to wrap up. Now, usually what we do is go to on-track activity. So let's go to the track and check out some scenic shots as the drivers meeting is about to conclude here at Daytona. And then we get ready for practice and then the lineup of the race. All these guys right now on the racetrack doing what they need to do. Oh, and by the way, we're in practice right now. And here's something else. This race, Jason, will be at daytime. In years past, it was at night. Last night's duels were at nighttime. This will be a daytime event. Shades of the real Daytona 500. I think that's going to be something you got to keep an eye on, watch as well tonight.
Yeah, it almost brings me back, probably, Wesley, to the early 2000s. You remember how the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series used to start their debut for the season. They would start at Daytona. It used to be in the day. Later on in the later 2000s, they transitioned over to the night races. I mean, I think about, obviously, to the great finishes we've seen here at the daytime for the Truck Series. You think back to the awesome 3-wide finish that happened here in the early 2000s with Jag Sprague, I believe it was, getting the win at Daytona, or I believe it might have been somebody else. I'm having a brain fart, getting back from another, broadcast, so my history and knowledge that's in my head, like everybody calls me the history book, is not all there. But this is going to be interesting. The track is going to have a little bit more heat. Handling very well could be an issue. We'll have to see. Maybe the way that the drivers take on the pits, hooking up with other drivers on the racetrack, with pushing, tandem drafting, whatever it may be. It's definitely a complete literal night and day difference when you come to Daytona at different times.
Yeah, for sure. And make no mistake about it, that's something that we will certainly keep an eye on, watching, no doubt, throughout the day here at Daytona. Hey, real quickly, let's take a look at the Hunt the Front TV race analysis, race information. Jason, one thing we didn't talk about in the introduction, but we will talk about now, no fast repair. Understanding we can't update that, our apologies. No fast repair. I think that's the biggest thing that we can emphasize on for the series tonight. No fast repair. They're going to get 3 sets of tires, 3 attempts at a green-white checker if need be, 200 miles, 80 laps, but no fast repair this year on this series.
Yeah, we didn't even need the Hunt the Front TV race analysis. Wesley basically just gave it to you right there. I mean, the fact that these guys do not have a fast repair this year makes it all the more meaningful to go out there, put on a great run here tonight, and especially at a track like Daytona that's known for the chaos, the unpredictability at these races. We saw how crucial it was to have that one fast repair. If you were involved in an earlier incident in the race, saving that fast repair, taking the repair time on pit road, and then if you got involved in another wreck, you had that fast repair to lean on. Now, Wesley, you don't have that, like you had mentioned, so it's going to be really interesting to see how these drivers take on this race. Will they be a little bit more calm? Will they be a little bit more lenient with the way that they pass, side draft, push, whatever it may need be? Remember last year, we saw a lot of wrecks later on in the second half of the race, 200 miles, 80 laps, same length as the ARCA Menard series that runs here before during Speed Week. So this is going to be really interesting and really intriguing for us viewers, fans, commentators, listening in, watching, whatever it may be, to see how this race plays out with that fast repair being stripped away from these guys this year.
And the bottom line is this: if you wreck, you could possibly be out and your race possible season in the early going could be done. It's time to strap in for the 11th season opener and the virtual World Center of Racing. This is the Daytona 200. And here's the starting lineup. The front row is set with Ryan Bloom and Robert Gamble on row number 1. Row 2, these are your drivers, of course, of Troy Daggett and James Vining, the Catman. He'll start 4th. Those are your, of course, drivers from the dual races last night. Ron Hunter, Frank Harris will make up row number 3. On the podium, Roy Grande, Jose Carrillo in the 125 will start 8th. And the top 10 now, Jason, Stephen Paulison and a former Cup Northwest champion, Chris White in the 56. New number, might I add.
Top 20, row 6, Kenneth Garber, Sean Brightsman, so strong in the Xfinity Series last year. What does he have for the trucks? We're going to find out. Row 7, Joshua Marcy, Dan Lowther in the 63 to the outside. Row number 8, William Fletcher, the 28, and Ray Fournier in the 26 to the outside. Row number 9, you'll find Tyler Kim, who was strong last year here at Daytona in the 38, and Gary Nichols in the 8. Top 20, row number 10, you're going to find Russ Lundberg with his crazy hair per usual in the 129, and Dennis Moore, who was bad fast last year. What does he have for season 11? He'll start on the outside in row number 10.
Moving on to row number 11, Chris Kynes in the number 88 and Bryce Clark, the 93. Row 12, former Truck Cup champion Dan West Jr. and the stain for Montana's Jeff Stabnow, their teammate for Team LSRTV. There's Clifford, Win Racing, Toby Ritters, and the legend Carl Burke alongside. Row 14 will find Tyler King and Paul Newton. And your top 30 will look at this, finding the drivers of Kevin Smith and Chad Malik alongside.
Row number 16, you'll have Scott Hutchinson, Stephen O'Hare, and the 41 machine to the outside. Row number 17, you'll find Ryan Gormley, strong in the Xfinity Series last year. We'll see what he has. Joshua Cushman along on the outside. And row number 18, you'll find Brett Johnson and Brian Barnes in the number 4, and that will be your 36 truck lineup for tonight's Daytona 200.
A new season ready to roll, and it is about that time. Lights are already off on that iRacing pace car, the one we've all been waiting for since November of last year when the season ended. We hope you're ready to strap in. It's a long road to November, the playoffs, and more. Hey, speak of that, a new format this year. And ladies and gentlemen, the Northwest Pacific Best are back on iRacing. We are green and the Daytona 200 is on. Here they come, thundering down to the line, and the virtual kaleidoscope of colors form out into turn number 1 in packs of one single file for the first 8 trucks, and then behind them they are 2 by 2. Didn't waste no time climbing that 31 degrees of bacon, Jason, off turn 2 to the super stretch.
Yeah, kind of a calm start so far to the start of this race here, Wesley, and probably because, like we mentioned, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it a lot this season, like we already have earlier during pre-race, is the no fast repair added on to this series. That fast repair stripped away. You don't have that great Christmas gift underneath the Christmas tree anymore that's given to you every single race like it is Christmas morning. You're going to have to take care of your truck, take care of your tires. Oh, and by the way, take care of your competitors everywhere around you on this racetrack here tonight.
By the way, in years past in this series, they have normally ran 250 miles. 100 laps. Jason, that's something different this year as well. 200 miles, 80 laps, the equivalent of what the ARCA series would run here at Daytona. It is minus 20 laps. I would say that this would be a sprint, but it's not that big of a long distance race either.
Yeah, and if you really do think about it, Wesley, it almost kind of brings back to reminiscences of the late Busch Light Clash here at Daytona. Remember, they used to go about 60 or 80 laps here. So you're running the same time, and you mentioned, like we had said before, ARCA Series, the ARCA Menards Series runs 80 laps here, 200 miles at the start of Speed Weeks. They kick off racing, obviously, on Saturdays now compared to what they would on Fridays in the day. They race at night. We take the Northwest Series. We go from night to day, 80 laps, cut it down by 20. It is definitely a sprint to the finish, probably a two-stop race for sure. We'll see what that brings with the various strategies here if we can get some green flag racing here tonight.
Right now, working lap number 3. I don't know whether, there it is. That's starting to pop up here now in little glitches one by one. You ask and you shall receive, Wesley, I guess. Working lap number 3 of 80 as they work off the corner. And our producer got excited with the speed shot. He forgot to put the graphics up. Hey, listen, it's the first race of the year. There might be a hiccup or a hookup or a shuck up or a shut up, but somehow or another, we'll get through it. No doubt about it as they're back in turn 1, Jason. And literally, I just called an iRacing broadcast. I know you did as well. Y'all two just finished the Full Throttle Cup Series, and I can say this in defense. Y'all literally had about 8 minutes to grab a drink, reset the servers, and come on the air for the Daytona 200. Boy.
Yeah, we didn't even have that. I think me and Charles probably had about maybe a minute or two of pee time and then probably a quick drink. But I didn't even grab a drink. I'm just hanging out here. We're doing what we do best, Wesley. We're back better than ever here for 2024. I'm ready to see what these guys have, and I'm ready to see for the next 75 laps at what these guys have. You see Ryan Bloom, he's already taken the command in that 25 machine, riding down at the bottom of the racetrack. Outside lane, currently led by, I believe that's the truck in front of Brightsman. That would be Chris White in the 56 machine. New colors, new number for the driver of the Toyota Tundra TRD machine as they fly off turn number 2. Field is starting to get double wide. We saw them single filed out for about the first 8 to 10 rows. Now they're double wide for the race lead.
Watching all this again transpire as they climb up the banking into turn number 3. Thundering off turn 4. It's Ryan Bloom in the lead. Daggett second. White is third. Hunter Brightsman top 5. Grande had a good solid run last night. A third place in Duel 2. He's up in the dogfight. Daggett, the Duel 2 winner in third as they go back to 1.
Double wide for the race lead, 2 by 2 throughout the entire field. Some drivers kind of starting to peek out of line, but again, wanting to make sure that they keep the truck clean and don't take out themselves or anybody else as Sean Brightsman crawls up to the back bumper of Chris White down the Daytona super stretch. Still double wide for the race lead. Outside lane, probably the preferred line here, Wesley, off these corners. But that bottom lane through the corners is the way to go.
Inside the racetrack, Brightsman up high. Daggett back to the bottom. Up high goes White. And there's Bloom protecting the inside. Ryan Bloom. What a talent for Win Racing. And there he goes right there in that Click It RV Bomb Speed 25, the blue and orange for the Boise State, Idaho Broncos. And right now, staying to the inside, there's White. As I mentioned, new numbers, new colors, new faces, and new places in the virtual world here, just like of NASCAR in 2024, just like Chris White there in that 56.
Yeah, and he's doing a really good job, obviously, letting Sean Brightsman crawl up to the back bumper. And that 56 machine, man, that thing is bad fast looking for sure. I love the font. I love the colors. Red, black, and white, my favorite color combination. Only thing it's missing is it's got to be a Chevy, not a Toyota. So I'll give him a pass on that one. But I love the 56 font. It looks so clean. It looks so good. Almost kind of reminds me, honestly, Wesley, of Ryan Truex's days in the Truck Series or a Martin Truex Jr. old MWR font in 56 car. Looks really good. Things are kind of getting a little dicey up at the front. Thought that Chris White was going to go to the middle right there. Sean Brightsman peeked for a second down out of the tri-elbow to the outside. Thought they were going to ship the 56 into the middle.
And look at Ray Fournier up there on the outside lane of the super stretch, giving plenty of room in tow to Grande. Brightsman right there in front of him with his tailgate 46. On the bottom of the racetrack is also now the drivers of Gamble. Gamble, the Duel 1 winner last night. He's right there. Troy Daggett, second, the winner of Duel 2. Now they hold it together as they work to the line, closing in on 70 to go here at Daytona.
Bloom's got really good help behind him. I just don't know if anybody behind the 46 and the 56 is going to get close enough to give the momentum push to those two trucks out on front in the outside lane. Everybody's kind of spread out up on that top lane. You have little gaps in between every truck. The bottom lane is really formed up great right now. They have the momentum. They have the help behind them. I mean, look at this. You're seeing the 46 machine. He keeps on bobbing and weaving from the middle to the top lane on the 56 truck. It's almost like they kind of want to get Chris White out, but obviously if you do that, you could really shake up this race in a big way. It can create some trouble for yourself and others around.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Continuing to watch all this work on down the super stretch, down to the back straightaway. Now back coming to the start-finish line. Look at Ron Hunter. Got that rear end a little ways for... Got back in the throttle. Here he comes back on the outside lane. White is there. And on the inside, Ryan Bloom, Daggett, Hunter, Grande. New names, Jason, that have either struggled in years past or have really improved of years late to show their strengths in the early going here at Daytona.
Yeah, and obviously this is the first race of the year, so all these guys want to go out here and win because they all know that they have a shot with how unpredictable and chaotic this race can be. When you head into next week, when you go to the first real oval of the season, that's where the season really starts. But obviously tonight, the season starts off. It's a great one. It's Daytona, baby. You want to go out here, get that first victory of the season, get season 11 kicked off in a great way for yourself, your team, family, friend, girlfriend, whoever it may be. It does not matter. So you want to try to come out here, get a clean start to the season. This is where it all starts. This one race could mean you making the playoffs or missing the playoffs. Yeah. Or just in general, just competing for a win. You don't know if you're going to be able to compete for another win all season long, depending on either your skill set, your setup, the drivers behind you, whatever it may be. There's so many factors that go in to such a long season here from the middle of March all the way to November.
And Charles Wooten, I'll bring you in here real quickly. Obviously, welcome back, my friend, on the production side of things after preliminary night last night with qualifying of the duels. But in addition to being the producer, you'll also be our rules and stats analyst for the Northwest Racing Series. And one of the things that you've kept up with leading up to the launch tonight is that there's a new playoff format. Things are going to be kind of different than what it's been in years past.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm taking a break.
We're eating ice cream. Ice cream!
Yeah.
Laffy Taffy and Victory Fuel with Charles Wooten. Never mind. Go back to eating your snacks.
Yes, there are changes in. I'll have more information later on, like maybe next week.
Okay.
But yeah,
2 weeks. Give it 2 weeks.
A lot of things changing. So looking forward to it. I do finally have the schedule. We'll be getting that on YouTube here shortly. If anyone knows what goes into this, it's a lot that goes into this. So it's been a crazy day here at the office.
4 months wasn't long enough.
No, it wasn't.
Right back
He might
at
have
it
needed
again.
about 2 years.
Oh, Ryan Bloom. Thank you, Charles. Back to production while eating Laffy Taffy. The Laffy Taffy. Never mind. He says Laffy Taffy and the song comes in my head there, Jason. Look at this. Is that before your time? It might be before your I don't know.
I was about to say, I don't know if I've ever heard the Laffy Taffy theme song. I know a lot of theme songs. I got good memory. I don't know if I've ever heard the Laffy. I don't even know. No, I don't think I ever have.
Laffy Taffy?
No,
never mind.
Never. And do me a favor, never sing it again.
Oh, man. 15 of 80 laps. We're closing in on about 1/4 of the distance here at Daytona. This track again measures at 2.5 miles, 31 degrees of banking, 8 degrees on the back straightaway, about 12 degrees on the front stretch right now as they thunder down through Hunter, Grande, hold on, guys, locked up under the tailgate, and everybody's checking up behind them. That's Stab now that just got it behind in there in the 24. And we stay green.
Oh, gosh.
Hunter falls back. We do not get a caution flag. Oh, no.
And Wesley, I think we didn't get a caution flag
replay?
there because remember again, iRacing does not deem, like, because iRacing has its own caution system,
Right.
so depending on where a driver is located, spins out, whatever it may be on the racetrack, speed, there's so many factors that go into it. The way that it's ran here, because they go off of the iRacing caution officiating system, or if
Yes.
need be with an admin in the race, they can throw the caution anytime, but because they spun below the apron, as you see the smoke starting to clear up off turn 4, they spun out below the apron. They're in no harm's way. That is non-raceable surface deemed on iRacing. So that is why you did not see the caution come out, and it has shook this field up in a big way.
And can I say, though, mad props to the 11 of Roy Grande and the 30 of Ron Hunter. That's where it all started. That's where the storm brewed. But, you know, somehow or another, they all backed away from one another, and they didn't wreck their trucks. What happened was in the back to Stab now and some other guys. Obviously, we're going to the green flag conditions still here at Daytona. Look at them working to turn 3. Bloom up on the bottom of the racetrack up high. Chris White there as well. Brightsman is up there behind him. So is also the driver, Marcy. All of these guys. You know, Ray Fournier, what a run for Ray, man. And look at Roy Grande get right back in the dogfight to the outside behind Fournier and company, as well as the 7 of Johnson back to 1.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers up here, Wesley, inside this top 10 to 15 that, you know, you never hear their name or they've just never even raced here before. I think of a driver like Bryce Clark. I've never heard Bryce Clark's name enough to even know if he's ran in this series, and currently sitting inside the top 10. We talked about Brett Johnson. What kind of excitement would he bring? He sits right now inside the top 12, doing a great job. Everybody really jockeying for position there out of 2 down the back and into 3. You saw some 2-3 wide movement, and now we have a different change of pace at the front of this field on the outside lane there. Right now, that's Troy Daggett. Last year and this year's one of the dual winners, doing a great job, and he's getting a great push from Chris White in the 56 machine to get all the way out to the race lead now going into 1.
Back into the corner up high again. Daggett. Plenty of room given. White behind. Brightsman there too to the outside. And they're 2x2 do-si-doing down the back straightaway. And that Tango will now work their way off the back stretch into turn number 3. Bloom to the inside, but not for the lead anymore. Daggett will make the outside work. He's going to hang right there with him as he got sideways in the diamond of the corner. Somehow came out spinning and grinning, but he can't get around Bloom yet off 4. He's got to run with the help of White as they come to the line.
Everybody kind of stacks up on the outside lane. Bottom is a little bit spread out, so that makes the outside lane just a little bit more organized despite them stacking up as they head down to turn number 1. Marcy gives a great push down to Ryan Bloom, heading for 1. Daggett works to the outside. He's got help from Chris White, still right back behind him as everybody tries to catch the main pack up at the front of this field, hitting the Daytona super stretch as they fly at nearly 200 miles an hour, heading for turn 3.
Heading to that draft. By the way, weather conditions here at Daytona. I don't know if we have the Kaufman Creative Weather graphic, but I can let you know. Cloudy sky, sun is poking out. There it is right there. Thank you, sir. 82 degrees. 6 mile per hour wind speed. And Bloom and Grande and teammates are coming to pit road. Here comes Win Racing.
They all locked up there, though, Wesley, coming into the pits.
Oh,
Oh, no, we got
no.
one car sideways in the grass. Not too
That's Grande.
sure who that is. Yeah, that's Roy Grande in the 11 machine. I saw a lot of smoke, and I said, holy cow, and we'll get back to the reason why I said that here in just a moment. But that was really, really early. Remember, these guys are on 100% fuel load, so this is not
Right.
odd to see these guys come out down here on pit road. They have a standard tank of fuel. It's not cut short, but obviously they want to try to short pit this. And I can only imagine, Wesley, that they want to try to make this a 2-stop race, pit early.
Yeah.
And you see all the Win Racing guys coming down pit road.
Yeah, Win Racing had this planned, I believe. They said lap 20, we're all coming down, and that's exactly what they did. Now, if you're new to the Northwest Racing Series or any racing for that matter, they got to stay below the double yellow line until they commit to the blend cone. That blend cone is right there at the entrance of the turn 2 exit onto the back straightaway. Meanwhile, Troy Daggett is now the man up in front. Marcy in the number 2 spot. White stays to the outside to third. Brightsman 4th, and Fournier in the top 5. And guess what, Jason? Carl Burke is up there in the 53. Look at the Chevrolet roll.
Yeah, doing a great job right now. Carl Burke is in that 53 as they start to pass some lap trucks. There's the 125 machine of Chase Carrillo, and also another truck going a lap down. That's Robert Gamble, one of your dual winners from the other night. You see Carrillo all the way up against the wall. There's Roy Grande. He's up against the wall as well, going a lap down. And, I mean, it's just interesting the way that this race has panned out so far for the first quarter of this race. But I said holy cow real quick, and Charles, I want to see if you can bring up the Kaufman Creative weather conditions for us just one more time. And I said holy cow because of this very reason. If Charles wants to stop eating Laffy Taffy and give me the dang graphic here in just a second, but yes, it was that track temperature. You notice the track temp, 116 degrees. That makes these trucks, Wesley, in the daytime, very, very unstable.
Laffy Taffy, look it up.
What? He's got it in his belly.
We wanted to see the Kaufman Creative weather conditions again. The track temp is at 118 degrees almost. And by the way, there it is. Dynamic is now the weather conditions. It went from cloudy to sunny to dynamic. Kaufman Creative weather conditions. By the way, just want to set a story here for you. You got about 2 trucks by the racetrack by themselves going into turn 1, 1 in turn 4. The big gaggle of the leaders are working into turn 3 that you're watching right now. Up in front of them is about another 5-6 trucks from Win Racing in a pack now coming to the start-finish line, and they are quickly being approached by the thundering herd coming after them, passing the line now as we put lap 24 on the board completed.
And the only thing that's going to help them, Wesley, is obviously A, if a caution comes out, or B, there you go. You just saw the tail end of them. You saw Kevin Smith in the Win Racing 00 machine. There they are. So they're upwards of about 7, 8 seconds, maybe, I'd say. So, all right, so hold on. 1, 2. All right, thank you, Charles. So probably about, I'd say, 6 seconds. Maybe
you
7
see them
at
right
most.
there. Yeah, it's less than that, my friend.
Yeah, there they are.
They're coming after them.
They're coming after them, but like I said, the only thing that's going to help them is A, a caution, or B, because they're side by side. Now, yes, they are going faster for sure, but with the side drafting and these guys disturbing the air, being side by side, those guys have a little bit more leeway getting away with it here as you see them cross the line right now, that being the giant pack. So they can kind of scoot away as long as they stay single file, pushing one another, don't cause any incidents between one another. But I can only imagine they're probably going to need a caution or having to have these guys pit here soon.
Just over 50 miles into it here at Daytona in the first quarter of the Daytona 200 for the Northwest Racing Series. The trucks, season 11. We'll step away and pause for 10 seconds of radio identification on CRN, the Community Radio Network, back from Daytona next.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Poplar Bluff, old number 1 Speedway, the Cow Patty, both 5,000 win races. And if you didn't know what it is, it's the Dirt Car Racing Comp Cam's Super Dirt Series. You can check out the action only on Race On. Jason Rockefeller, I am Wesley Outland, Charles Wooten on production, eating snacks. Welcome to the new year of the Northwest Racing Series. iRacing on LSRTV and the Community Radio Network. Right now, It is Chris White, the leader. Troy Daggett second. Sean Brightsman now to second. Troy Daggett back to third. Marcy fourth. Carl Burke, your top five. Ray Fournier with a great run in sixth. Chad Malik, Chris Kynes, Brett Johnson, Dan Lowther, your top 10. The only question is, Jason, when do they pit? Because they haven't pitted yet.
I'd probably say around lap 32 to 36, you're going to start to see cars come down pit road here, Wesley, because that's just about how long these trucks can go on a full tank of fuel or so. And, I mean, you might see some guys go with some other drivers that they don't want to go with, but you got to do what you got to do. You have to pit down and obviously take those 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles or that fuel, whatever you may end up doing. I can only imagine these guys are probably going to only take fuel, considering they don't want to go a lap down. And you don't really need tires in a sense. Probably when they get to the second stop, I would say they would need them. But you're going to see multiple drivers come down pit road, various different packs, anywhere from 2 to 3, all the way to probably 10 cars or so. It's going to get really hairy really quickly, and these guys better be ready to get on the binders and obviously make it down to pit road speed. Oh, and by the way, not cause any wrecks like we've seen here in the past.
Just that one little slip that we had, no doubt, whenever things got fired up. And since then, we had that one little slip that was at the bottom of the apron. No caution called. And right now, we are closing in, if you will, on, believe it or not, 100 miles being completed in this race. This race is flying by because these guys they got R&R, respond and respect. There's a lot of patience going on out here, no doubt. Sean Brightsman now, the Puyallup, Washington driver, goes to the lead. Two-time Northwest Truck Champion. His Toyota, White in tow, former Cup champion. Daggett right there to third. Carl Burke, Malik, Ray Fournier. Look at these guys, Jason, that are up in the top 5, showing their strengths. In years past, you would say these guys are all the way in the back or out.
Yeah, and it's been so interesting to see, the skill level just go up. As you see some drivers come down to pit road. Here we go. Sean Brightsman leads the brigade down. Oh, hang on to it right there. Tyler King nearly got nabbed coming on to pit road. 53 into the wall there. That would be Carl Burke. As you see Stephen O'Hare coming to the aid of his pit crew. Everybody comes down to make their stops, and it is really hairy down on pit road.
And a feeling there were going to be pit stops around lap number 31 to 34 laps, and that's exactly what happens here as they come down to the line. Onto the pit lane, pit stops are beginning as there goes Nichols pulling off of pit road. Other drivers vining in. Brightsman now pulls in. Nichols is on exit, so is also the 41 of O'Hare. So is Barnes, former Cup champion. King, Burke, Stabnow, all these guys all back on the lead lap with timing and scoring updates. And here comes more down pit road, led by Daggett, Kynes, Malik and company on lap 31.
Yeah, they're going to come down. I'm seeing a lot of tires go on these drivers. So you're seeing the 2 tires going on the sides of that 22, and then that Toyota machine as well. Here comes the 38 of Tyler Kim. He's coming into the aid of his pit crew. 4 tires, I believe, is the call for these guys, and it might be the only set they put on possibly. Tyler Kim, though, looks like he could very well be taking fuel only. We'll have to see. Everything's going to... Oh, no! Whoa, what is wrong with the 56 machine there? That would be Chris White sideways. Was that coming out of the... There he... And the caution is out.
What a turn of events for Chris White. Not sure what happened. The 56 machine up in the front earlier. Here's the pit exit, Jason. We're under caution just before the completion of 100 miles. 32 of 80 laps. Look at this. What happened? Cold tires, I'm thinking, Jason. Spun it out. There he goes.
Wesley, I honestly don't even think it was cold tires. I mean, it is so hard to spin a truck out going through there. I think he might have probably put it in a wrong gear or something, possibly. He might have either downshifted or done something wrong, but there's the reason for the caution. You saw the 44. Oh, it was actually already out then, so I guess when they started checking up, Toby Ritters ran into the back of Dennis Moore in the 44 machine, turned him right around. But that was really interesting. But honestly, I mean, I don't think tires had anything to do with that. It is so hard and so rare to do that here at a super speedway where it is pretty much a straight shot and you have so much grip on pit road compared to any other racetrack. I personally just believe I think he missed a gear or he downshifted.
So the caution coming out again. By the way, the Northwest Racing Series has partnered with the Community Radio Network for now the 4th consecutive year, bringing that MRN, PRN radio style to the Northwest Truck Series and Northwest Racing Series competitors of iRacing. Here comes now Marcy on pit road. He is going to give up the lead as he was in the lead when they come to the pit lane. First caution of the race, by the way. Let's take a look at the race summary as we approach 100 miles of the event. It is presented by Virginia811.com, reminding you to dig with care here at Daytona. 1 caution, 2 caution laps so far, 7 lead changes, Jason, in the early opening 35 laps of this race here at Daytona.
Yeah, it's been very interesting so far, and that's really the only real incident we've seen here besides earlier on in the race. And it's been so interesting to see because, again, these guys don't have that fast repair, so they have to limit their mistakes big time. There is no falling back on that fast repair if you get wrecked. And, I mean, we are still yet to see any drivers have any damage. We've seen the save by the guys on the inside. We saw the 56 loop around, but he was able to save it. And then, obviously, Dennis Moore got turned off the front bumper of Toby Ritter's, but had no damage. So we are yet to see really a significant amount of damage be done here tonight.
Well, I guess we're close enough, Charles, as we get to halfway. I guess we could bring you in to our broadcast booth and have the mid-race report, as we always do, closing in, 5 laps, 6 laps to the cross flags of this race, and 100 miles here at Daytona. Obviously, he's Jason Rockefeller. I am Wesley Outland. And okay, Jason, so here's the deal. The fun, the hype, the excitement leading up to this race, not taking it away, but it's now subsided. Now you got a job to do way home. What do you think of the race so far? About 100 miles in. What do you think we'll see in the second 100 miles here at Daytona?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see here. I mean, there is no real clear indication on who is the favorite probably. I mean, Chris Kynes out front due to green flag pit stops and obviously having that caution come out during the green flag cycle. But, man, it's just getting warmed up. They're putting it in the oven. It's getting ready. It's heating up. Give it a minute, and then it's going to explode. It's going to go all over the place, and you're going to see chaos everywhere.
Yep.
So we're going to see what happens, obviously. I'm really looking forward to seeing who obviously takes. My tattoos are showing. Thank you, Charles. I got the NASCAR logo, and then I got my suicide prevention tattoo. So I got myself inked up. So I guess that's a little mid-race Jason exclusive report. I got inked up during the break. I got my NASCAR logo, obviously, and then I got my semicolon for suicide prevention. So got inked up over the offseason. But, man, these guys, though, over the offseason, too, Wesley, we've already seen a lot of guys, too, who've shown a lot more skill compared to what they did last year at the start of Daytona. Drivers like a Russ Lundberg, like a Chad Malik, Frank Harris, Carl Berg. We're seeing a lot more names up at the front of the field that we're not really too used to seeing like we did last year.
One of the things that I've got to make a prediction on here, obviously those guys that made the undercut pit stop, they took advantage of this last caution. They come down to the pit lane. Everyone else that is pitted is pitted. Is everybody right back at even Steven again?
Yeah, I would probably say so. I mean, considering the fact that the pit stops just happened and whatnot, I mean, that was pretty much like having a caution flag pit stop, just under green flag circumstances, because it just came out like that right away. Came out. But the thing is obviously you don't have the same guys like we just saw at the front of this field here. So you're going to have a little bit more of a shakeup. Drivers obviously like Ryan Bloom. I'm looking at the leaderboard right now. Ryan Bloom is interesting, all the way in the back. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Let's go back to on-track activity as that has been your mid-race report with about 5 laps to spare. Close it in on 100 miles, and we're back to green at Daytona. Chris Kynes will have the opportunity to lead the cavalry on the restart zone. Ryan Gormley in tow, Chad Malik right there, Dan Lowther, Gary Nichols, new names right there in the top 5. Jason, Ryan Gormley, I think this could be the year of the 22. You remember what I told you he did in Xfinity? I think he's got enough experience. Look at what he did. He could be a threat this year in the Northwest Truck Series in Season 11.
Yeah, I called him your prodigy last year. He might not be a prodigy anymore. He might be a young Padawan or possibly even a Jedi this year. We're going to have to see what happens with the 22 machine, because last year he was fast, man, in the Xfinity Series, Truck Series. We'll see what he's got this year. You see him right to the back bumper of the Dale Jr. inspired Diet Mountain Dew machine of Chris Kynes as they fly down to turn 1. Thought about taking a look there to the inside, making a pass. He tucks back in line. Here comes Dan Lowther, though, one of the drivers who was fast last year here at Daytona. He's looking for the lead now with Carl Burke on his back bumper as they exit 2.
Back in tow again, off 2 to the back straightaway. Lowther up to the outside lane. He's now going to have Burke in tow. So is Lundberg. Inside, Kynes to the lead. Gormley, Malik, so is Nichols. They all stay door to door now. Lowther to the lead at Daytona into turn 3.
Lowther jumps down from the top. He'll go down to the bottom shelf and leave the top completely open for anybody to get a push, that being Carl Burke in the 53. Some more jockeying for position, thinking about if they want to shuffle him out, maybe if they want to make a pass. That would be the 129 of Russ Lundberg. We just mentioned him. Look at the moves he's making. He's up inside the top 10, running in 6th now as they head into 1.
Gary Nichols, Bryce Clark, drivers like Brian Barnes, Tyler Kim, Frank Harris. Everybody, at least in the top 15, has struggled in some shape or form of the Northwest, and they are shining like stars here as we come to halfway at 100 miles in Daytona.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting race here as they're about to approach lap 39, just a couple laps shy away, Wesley, like you mentioned, from that 100-mile mark being ticked off, and then 100 more to go. And you can only imagine the intensity is going to ramp up. We already saw it towards the end of that green flag cycle. We had our first caution. How many more will we have? We have no idea.
Oh.
Big shove from the 88 to the 63 there. Nearly shot him out of line like a cannon going through the tri-oval on exit. You got to be easy pushing with these trucks. Remember, last year they had an update with the trucks. They used to be really, really squirrely. When you would bump and beat and bang on the rear bumper, they made it a little bit more easier to push, but still hanging on that right rear, hanging on that left rear. You got to be careful, because if you push a guy in the wrong spot, you're going to send him around.
Somehow they save it. Marcy with a big burst of momentum up the outside. And here comes the boss of Win Racing, Kevin Smith, as well. In line, Johnson. Well, there's Toby Ritters also. He's back into the top 15. Lundberg back to that spot as well. Harris behind Barnes, all up the banking into turn number 1 and 2. Halfway, Daytona, 100 miles in, next time by.
And Kevin Smith is a driver who probably would really like to have a great season this year. I mean, he ran a majority of the races, obviously, but there was a lot of times last year, Wesley, in the Xfinity Series in particular, where he would race, he would run, and then something would happen to him. And I know that the same really couldn't be said for the Truck Series, because when you look at his stats, came home 3rd in points, he had 4 wins, 12 poles, fantastic. He's pretty much the Ryan Newman of qualifying here in the Northwest Truck Series, or you could even factor in the new Christopher Bell, because Christopher Bell is just so strong when it comes to qualifying, like Ryan Newman was, and that's how Kevin Smith is. Had 11 top 5s, 15 top 10s. Great season. You know, when it looks really good, as you see them, they're going to shuffle out Carl Burke to the outside. But Kevin Smith going to need a much-needed revival here this season if he wants to try to go for that championship.
Side draft, door-to-door. Nichols in that mix as well behind Barnes.
Oh, there we go.
They make contact. Lundberg in the wall. Lundberg, Burke get together. Crash in turn number 3. Lundberg, bottom of the racetrack. Hutchinson will scamper by. Stab now. West will. O'Hare, all missing him. Caution out as we're 100 miles in at Daytona. And this is caution number 2, Jason.
We'll take a look here at the replay, and I think, Wesley, it all started when Carl Burke got shuffled out on the outside lane, and then it just kind of set up a scramble situation going into turn 3. You see them go below, and then here we go, down into the corner. You're going to see the 129 machine. It looks like he kind of comes up. Yeah, and he does. He just kind of comes right up into the 53, gets up into the wall. And I am amazed that nobody really else got involved. That was a one-truck incident. That should have been about a 12-car pileup heading into turn 3. Great job by drivers like Sean Brightsman, Stephen O'Hare, just to name a few that missed that wreck. And now you see the 129 on pit road. He's going to try to fix that damage. Not out of it by any means, but he's probably going to go a few laps down trying to fix it.
Just saw Robert Gamble on the bottom of the racetrack as well. And a tough break, man, for the driver, Russ Lundberg. Understanding he is out of it. Tough break for the man in the 129. He is out. I believe also another driver out of the race early is Kenneth Garber, William Fletcher. These guys out in the early going too. Remember, it's very simple. There is no fast repair in this series this year, meaning if you damage your truck, if it's way beyond repair, Jason, as we see a couple of guys behind the top 7 coming down to the pit lane, if you damage your truck, you either got to go to the damaged vehicle policy time clock to try to get repairs done, or you're out. You're done.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that these guys, again, and we're going to stress about it. This is by far not the last time. We will talk about this tonight, next week, the week after, probably the entire season. The fact that these guys don't have a fast repair, especially the super speedway, is all the much more tricky for these drivers. They have to play calm. They have to be cool. They have to be mindful of what they do. They have to be mindful of other drivers around them, know when to go for a pass, know when to not go for a pass, back out of something, go for something, etc. It has to be timed well. You have to do it properly without wrecking yourself or anybody around you. So for Russ Lundberg, unfortunately, he's the first victim of tonight, really. First one out, really, besides Kenneth Garber, who's 27 laps down as well. It just makes it so much more interesting for these guys because, Wesley, listen, it was a sim last year, but they had that fast repair, which is obviously not something you would have in real life. Because if they had it in real life,
that wild card in your pocket. It's the wild card in your pocket. You know that you got that trump card, and you could use it if something happens to you. Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. And these guys have to treat this more like a sim, more like reality than ever before. So they have to be mindful of everything that they do, and that's why this season, I'm telling you, with the driver experience being amped up in the offseason, with drivers having more on-track time and doing different vehicles like we saw in the offseason, I mean, you are going to have to be careful, and that's why this season, I think, will probably be the most anticipated crazy season that we have seen in Northwest.
Charles, you were talking about the schedule. Where are we heading to next week for round 2 of the Northwest Truck Series for season 11, my friend?
Okay, no. I mean, look. We are headed to the Legacy Atlanta.
Old Atlanta. Old Atlanta. Not Super Speedway Atlanta. Old Atlanta. Which I don't like, Jason. I like Super Speedway Atlanta.
No, we're going to the old Atlanta, and after that, I'll just have to not tell you. You have to figure that on your own.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's not nice, Charles. You got to tell us at this point. All right, there you go. You got Vegas, but it'll be fun. I think next week it'll be awesome, though, Wesley, because it's nice to see the tire saving coming to play with, obviously, how treacherous that track was with the tires. Not so much for the drivers, but the tires were what you feared going into there. I like new Super Speedway Atlanta. It's really awesome in the real life. Oh, my God, it puts on such a great show for sure. But, I mean, when it comes to the sim, it's a driver's track, man. If you don't know how to manage tires, you are not going to have a good day there. It'll be a fun one next week for sure. I'm almost guaranteeing it.
Well, we'll definitely see how it all shakes out for sure next week, of course. All right. Tonight, again, the Daytona 200. Hey, some of the Daytona Titans, as we get ready for a restart, includes John Annenbacher, who is not here tonight, by the way, the Iron Man of Daytona, with 23 incredible starts closely by Jeff Stabnow, obviously, who has not just covered over 3,528 miles across 22 starts, but he clinched 3 wins in Daytona. Also, Mark Waltz with 4 wins at Daytona, which sets the bar for excellence and ambition on this legendary track that's the world's center of racing. Also, drivers you better watch, no doubt. Tale of champions like Sean Brightsman, Dan West Jr., Stephen Paulison, all active drivers who are ready to roll as we approach the restart on lap number 44 this time by. Front row heroes, we mentioned them earlier. Ryan Bloom, Lake Peterson was here last night. I guess he decided to play possum and not show up tonight. As we go back to green, we're back underway, and Dan Lowther brings him to the restart.
Yeah, and Chris Kynes got a good restart as well up on the outside. He's got help from that Win Racing driver of Kevin Smith up on the outside lane. Josh Marcy following along with him as well, along with, I believe, that's Chad Malik in the 33 machine up on the outside lane, and it is in the Toyota. The inside lane a little bit formed up better here, but once these guys start getting up to speed here, Wesley, they're going to be packed up before you know it.
2 attempts at overtime if need be for a green-white checker shootout. Drivers were giving 1 set of tires, obviously, for the start, and 3 more in the pits. Some of these guys have already pitted once, twice, some 3 times have already done it, but they might have saved their tires. I think if we get a green flag run, Jason, we could see green flag pit stops to possibly determine the winner here in the Daytona 200 as we approach lap 50.
Oh, you definitely will. They're going to have to pit, no doubt about it, at least one more time, whether it be from now all the way to about lap 70 or so. So we'll see. But, I mean, Wesley, it's Daytona. We both know that might not happen here, depending on how these guys choose to race and how they race, but we'll see. Notice going about a lap prior, the 00 gave a great push to the 88 going through the tri-oval, but it looked like Chris Kynes didn't like the push from the 00 machine. He jumped down in front of Dan Lowther. He'll lead the tail, or rather the brigade, on the bottom side. Kevin Smith, great push from Josh Marcy here. Those 3 trucks with them, and also Chad Malik doing a great job going all the way to the race lead, but I could tell Chris Kynes did not like the push from the 00. That's probably why he jumped down.
By the way, next Monday, and it will not be April Fool's Day, Legacy Atlanta Motor Speedway is where we'll be. Las Vegas Motor Speedway, of course, the following Monday. Richmond Raceway, Texas Motor Speedway, and Kansas. The first 6 races on the schedule before an off week, first week of May. That's your schedule. As right now, Chris Kynes, what an opportunity for the 88, but not for long. Like taking away your prom date as Easter is upon us, and a lot of school kids have got the prom coming up. Taking away your sweetheart. Here comes Kevin Smith on the outside, ready to take that lead away from Kynes as they climb the bank and Jason to 1.
Josh Marcy is doing such a great job pushing this 00, but the one thing he's got to worry about are those temps in that truck, Wesley. It doesn't get nearly talked enough probably on the sim compared to real life, but he is really tucked up underneath the back of Kevin Smith. That truck is going to overheat pretty easily if he keeps doing it. And as I say that, he jumps out of line. He might be able to hear me really quickly, I think. All jokes aside, but that 35 machine probably was heating up pretty bad. He needed that clean air. He saw the opportunity. He went right for it. Now he went to the inside. But look at Chris Kynes. Might not want to ride line. Thought about going to the top. He elects to stay on the bottom right behind Joshua Marcy as they cross the line this time by. Now on lap 49 here. Just shy of 50 as they head into turn number 1.
Closing in on 30 to go. And it's time to get your pawns in pieces for checkmate as the payout window is about to open for the finish of this one. Marcy now, the 35 Toyota in the lead. Look at the 125 poking back into the battle again. That's the driver Carrillo. And look at Carrillo now. Look at all these guys starting to get in line. Single file, the top 2 behind them. They are door to door until you get to Newton and Barnes, all them in a pack.
Everybody's doing a really good job right now. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen a massive wreck right now, knock on wood, but you know, I'm sure it's coming. We just got to find out when. You see the 00 of Kevin Smith up at the top of the racetrack. He's got that help from the 33 of Malik, then Brett Johnson in the 7 LSRTV machine, starting to file out in the third on the top lane there, doing a great job as well. But the bottom lane just formed up way better than everybody else. There's the Natural Light Natterdays machine of Ryan Gormley doing a great job as well here in the trucks. We saw how good he was in the Xfinity car last year. Now he's got to take on the trucks here full-time this season. We'll see what he can do. They work off turn number 4. It's still Marcy out front with Chris Kynes giving great pushes to him. Outside lane, still not able to get there as they hit lap 51.
So impressed with all of these drivers that are right now staying inside and outside around the racetrack. They work back up the banking again with 30 laps to go now. You're moving into the home stretch of this event. You know, Jason, I kind of hinted on it during the mid-race report. There's the hype, there's the excitement, there's the buildup, there's the anticipation, there is the unknown. Now you know what you've got. Everybody is in place to go to the finish. It's now time to literally show what strengths or weaknesses we're going to see to determine the outcome of who the winner will be in round 1 of the year.
Yeah, and Kevin Smith jumped down from the outside, got a good enough push from Chad Malik to go to the race lead. He'll get help from Josh Marcy as they head into the tri-oval this time by. Everybody jockeying position, slicing, dicing double wide for about the first 8 or 9, 10 rows deep here as they head into turn number 1. Smith got a great push there from Marcy entering the corner, but Brett Johnson trying to get to the bumper of Chad Malik as they come off turn 2 there up on the outside.
Door to door. Right now, nobody has been crazy enough to stick it 3, 4, 5 wide yet. It's been a couple of 2 wide racing, at least do-si-do side by side, but nobody has broken apart and become chaotic. They all stay organized, if you will. Kynes from the bottom lane down to the middle lane, going to the top. As I said, right now, no one doing anything chaotic as they come to the line. Ready. Smith up in front again. You know, Jason, we know Smith has had success in the Northwest Truck Series, but he's never won the big one at Daytona for the Walla Walla Washington driver.
Yeah, and it would be amazing if the 00 machine could obviously get to victory lane here tonight for Win Racing. Obviously, general manager over there, you see a Click It RV doing a great job out front with the 00 machine. He's just got to keep everybody behind him, keep the truck clean. Don't be aggressive. Don't throw bad blocks for sure. That's something that we haven't really seen here tonight. We've seen the leader go from top to bottom, but no real blocks at all to defend a lane here. You can't really do that in the trucks. You kind of just have to let it play out here. I'm assuming we'll see some blocks later on in this race. But Kevin Smith doing a great job out front, but Chris Kynes as well doing a great job as well, just kind of navigating the lanes, figuring out what lane he wants to go to, whether he wants to be on the bottom, whether he wants to be on the top. He's still up in that top 3, and he's leading that outside lane with help from the 33 of Malik behind him.
Inside, Marcy bottom trying to get a run on Smith. Kynes up on the top. Now Malik is right there behind him. Johnson in tow. Lowther on the bottom. And Kevin Smith will lead the cavalry coming to the line. The virtual thundering herd coming to the stripe for lap number 54 of 80. Closing in on the final 50 miles of this race here at Daytona to open up season 11 of the year. Jason, one thing I got to say, bud, I want to get your thoughts on it. I am just so impressed with all these drivers that, you would think that, and I say this in no disregard or disrespect to any of our friends here, you would think they would not have a chance to do something in this race. But right now, we are literally seeing guys that are normally back runners, guys that are normally in the back, that struggle in qualifying, struggle in the races, up in the front, and literally putting themselves in contention to win and still able to hang with an ace like Kevin Smith. Because we remember a time years ago where Kevin Smith couldn't even get out of his own way.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to see, obviously, the dynamic up at the front of this field and really throughout the entire pack. Again, we've only really had one main incident, and it was earlier on during green flag pit stops, and it was all kind of a mishap from the number 56 machine of Chris White. And then we had the earlier incident, but they were all able to save it. We saw 2 trucks go around. Besides that, no real incident, and you would think that these guys, you know, with how aggressive they usually are on the super speedways, that, hey, they might actually wreck, and we might see a majority of this field gone before halfway with, you know, the fast repair taken away from them. That get-out-of-jail-free card or wild card, like you had mentioned earlier, Wesley, they have done anything but that. They've been doing a great job here. You know, again, you talk about drivers we're used to seeing at the back. Chris Hines, Chad Malik, Brett Johnson, Frank Harris, man, they're all up in this top 10, and they're doing a heck of a job up here. And we're closing in on 20 laps to go. They got a shot for this thing.
Yeah, definitely ready to see what they can do. Look at this now. Lowther up high. Kynes in tow. Johnson there. Frank Harris donning the Oregon Ducks colors. We got a truck coming to the pit lane. That's Marcy. Joshua Marcy coming to the pit lane. There's got to be a strategy there. Could we see other guys pit before he does? Is he going for an undercut on him, Jason?
I mean, I don't really even see how much of an undercut it is, considering the fact he's the only guy who came down pit road. I mean, that probably just means to me that he either didn't pack it full of fuel or whatnot, but I mean, he's all by himself, man. There's not much he's going to be able to do with no drafting help out there. When he comes into the pits, he's easily going to go a lap down, no doubt about it. And he's going to have to get a caution. He's going to have to get a caution quick. But the pit stops, they're going to be approaching here pretty soon, within the next, I'd say, 5 to 10 laps or so. And here we go. It opened up the door. Here comes a few.
I believe that's Johnson jumping out of line, and Chris White also on pit road.
No!
More White in trouble. Stab down on the binders to avoid his teammate West and Brightman. Wow.
Oh my God. Wesley, Jeff Stabnow probably just had the save of the year, and it wasn't even at high speed.
In race
Charles,
1 of the
you gotta
year.
take a look at that. That was crazy. Dude, he should have ran right into the back of Chris White, and he didn't even touch him.
Let's watch this again. Green flag action still continues, by the way. Lap 59. Closing in on 20 to go. Watch this. Look at White. Look at Stabnow. Charles, can we go on board with Stabnow in the 24? I wonder what it would be like in the cockpit of Stabnow. Coming at you.
Oh my gosh. I'm just amazed at the fact that he saved that thing, because that was an easy, and you saw the 24, Wesley. Me and you both saw him. He was coming in hot, and he was easily going to be speeding on pit road. He locked up the brakes, but Chris White in front of him locked it up too, and he spun out. And it was for sure looking like Jeff Stabnow was going to nail him in the left rear quarter panel and create a wreck that would probably have brought out a caution more than likely. But, man, he dodged him so quickly. Jeff Stabnow, pat on the back, man. That was a good one. That was crazy.
You know, Jeff told me on Saturday when we spoke on the phone that he had dusted off the iRacing rig literally on Sunday to prepare for the duels. They had literally dusted it off to get it up and ready. So he must have polished it up nicely on that steering wheel to be able to make a quick, evasive move, no doubt. Ryan Bloom in trouble. Oh, hold on, Carrillo and Bloom, door banging each other. Side draft. Bloom to the bottom of the grass. Can he hold it? He will. We'll stay green at Daytona. 20 to go. Holy camole. They held it together.
How have they not wrecked yet? I just don't understand. I'm waiting for it, and they keep teasing us. And I'm not saying I want them to wreck, but oh my gosh. I mean, they just went wrecking into turn 1 and all the way out of 2. They saved it, and whoa, look at this. One truck through the grass trying to get on the pit road. Easily missed it. Not too sure who that was, but a lot of drivers, though, coming on pit road. Here's the 26 Ray Fournier. Toby Ritter's Clifford. He's in this time by the 8 of Gary Nichols. Ritters overshoots the stall, and Kevin Smith as well on pit road.
Just absolute excitement happening inside and out as we approach the final 50 miles here at Daytona. Let's watch now Dan Lowther. He's the leader. Kynes will follow. Are they pulling onto pit lane? Survey says no. 18 to go.
Man, oh, here we go. We got more trucks coming down pit road. This time by, it looks like Tyler King, Paul Newton as well.
Yep. Tyler King, Paul Newton, all on pit road. Got a guy in the back that's on the pit lane. And I'm going to tell you, if this continues to transpire like it is, Jason, if you ain't got your teammate with you, you're a sitting duck, you're screwed. You're literally what happened to Joshua Marksey. And literally, you are literally just scampering trucks all around the track map of the Speedway. That's exactly what I'm seeing right now on my big diagram, thanks to the amazing effects and the stuff that we have to enhance our broadcast in the booth. You can literally see that 3/4 of the racetrack is literally scattered with trucks single file around the Speedway, Jason.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy the way that these green flag pit stops have been, and the fact that we haven't had that one vicious yellow flag that takes out a good majority of trucks is just absolutely baffling to me. And you mentioned about getting screwed coming on the pit road. If you're that one lonesome truck, or even just two trucks, man, you got to have a solid group. And even if it's not your teammates, you pick them. You can't even choose them anymore. You got to pick them where you can find them at this point. I mean, 17 laps to go. You're coming down to pit road. You got what you got, man. You got to come down with whoever comes down, and you got to elect to stay with them because you can't bail out of it. You can't think last minute, oh, I'm not going to pit with them. It's either you commit or you're getting screwed.
And you got guys like Dan Lowther, Chris Kynes, Chad Mallett, Ryan Gormley. They've only pitted one time in this race. That's it. Pit time was back on lap 31. So you know that they're literally pushing it. And you know, Jason, they can't go the distance. There's no way they can go 50 laps on a run. It just can't happen.
Yeah, there's no way it can. I mean, like I said, they're hold on to it there. The 11 machine rolling. Oh, there they go!
And they're still not done wrecking. O'Hare and the Nichols. Caution is out. This is exactly what the doctor ordered. Late race caution with 15 to go at Daytona. Maybe Dan Lowther knew that that's exactly what was about to happen.
Oh, man. Man, oh, man. We knew it was coming, Wesley. I mean, it's not the big one, but it was definitely an incident that was just waiting to happen. You see the 11 there, Roy Grande, just kind of gets hooked with the 26 machine there and just gets turned into the wall. Then Gary Nichols and Stephen O'Hare, they're trying to avoid it. They come together, and that could have been a massive wreck. But again, only 4 or 5 trucks involved there. Not a big one, but man, that's going to be significant damage to those trucks.
Yeah, you got to remember, the drivers do not have a fast repair. So with that said, do you go on the damage clock? Do you try to get something done to get back out there? Or is it really not that bad? I mean, you saw Fournier and, of course, the 11 of Grande up into the wall. Pit road is about to be opened. I will say this much. I know for a fact that guys like Lowther, Kynes, Malik, Gormley, they're going to have to come to pit road. Frank Harris is probably, yes, last time he pitted on lap 42.
Yeah, they're going to absolutely have to pit here in just a second. You're seeing the 63. He's peeking below, and there you go. Here they come. Dan Lowther's going to lead the brigade down pit road right here. Oh, what in the heck is happening with Tyler Kim?
And White.
That was Tyler. Tyler Kim just hit the wall back there. I don't know if I'm the only one who caught that, but Tyler Kim just slammed the wall in turn 4 under caution. I don't know what happened to the driver of the 38 machine. But, I mean, we got pit stops here happening down on pit lane. And again, most of this field here is coming down. Stab now. Dan West Jr. And, oh, my gosh, I didn't even know Dan West Jr. I forgot Dan West Jr. was even in this race. We haven't even said one word about him. And that's the guy who was so fast last year in the Truck Series and the Fixed Series for the Xfinity Series cars. We haven't mentioned Dan West Jr. besides the starting grid. Now he's second here with 14 to go.
Dan West Jr. right there. And can I say something as well? You've got Jeff Stabnow up in front, Dan West Jr., Sean Breitzman, Brett Johnson. And who are they with?
Team LSRTV.
And what was the championship battle like last year, if you remember, most of the season? It was Team LSRTV and Win Racing. It seemed like it was right there, back and forth on a pendulum, week in, week out balance beam. And I think we're seeing the same again.
Yeah, man, this is going to get interesting right here, though, Wesley. I mean, you could just think, though, how hungry some of these guys are right behind them, man. They see the dinner. They want that dinner, man. And it's going to come really quickly here. I mean, they're going to realistically restart this race here with about 12 laps to go. We should get the one-to-go signal here this time by when they hit the start-finish line. You look at the drivers up here. It is stacked, man. I mean, it is completely opposite of what we saw from the guys who we were not used to seeing up at the front of this field, at the front of the field for once. Now you have the guys who we're used to seeing up at the front of this field. They are up here. Stabnow, West, Breitzman, Johnson, Smith, King, Newton. All these drivers inside this top 10 are drivers primarily who we are used to seeing up at the front of this field. This is going to get dicey and hairy real quick.
Leading up to tonight, Jeff Stabnow, the all-time starter in the Northwest Racing Series, 429th start this evening, 40 career wins, looking for win number 41 tonight if he can get it. 168 top fives, 273 top tens. And Jason, that's not all. Including 46,221 laps in his career. He has led, listen to this, laps led, that's the number. Listen, 2,698 laps as a leader of over 66,000 miles, 196,000 corners in his iRacing career. Those stats brought to you by Sim Racer Hub. And ain't that amazing? Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, and you look at a driver like Jeff Stabnow, he is a guy where he kind of just runs around there. He's always in the mix, but something always happens to him. I think his only win last season, Wesley, because obviously you primarily called the season last year with Justin Prince and Terry Radford, obviously. I jumped on from time to time when I could, but I remember calling the Wednesday series with you last year. Jeff Stabnow, I believe, only had one win the entire year, and that came in a photo finish with him. Yeah. And I believe it was Ryan Bloom at Kansas. Last year, if you look at the truck stats, 0 wins, 6 top 5s, 16 top 10s across 30 starts. He's due for one, man. And imagine if he could come here tonight at Daytona.
12% of races, he normally leads laps. And by the way, I stand corrected. The laps led is 5,470. And there's a dozen laps to go here at the Virtual World Center of Racing. Front row. Little possibly couldn't get up to gear, spinning tires. Somehow they hold in form. Stay perfectly up the banking into turn one. It's go time. Stabnow in the front, leading Team LSRTV in tow in the corner.
Oh, man, this is going to get really hairy when they head into turn number 3 right now. Field getting up to the gears, getting up to speed right now. It was spread out at the start through the tri-oval. Oh, man, Wesley, they're all packed up together here now. Jeff Stabnow leading. Dan West Jr., though, getting the push from Brett Johnson on the outside lane with Team LSRTV, trying to steal one away here at Daytona, while Sean Breitzman pushes Stabnow off turn number 4 with the race lead. Oh, big crash in the back. Gary Nichols around hard into the wall. Josh Marcy's involved, and so is the 56 of Chris White.
That's Ray Fournier, actually, the 26. Colors look the same. Ray Fournier in trouble. And we go under the yellow flag again. My, oh, my.
Oh, man, that's hard to tell. I don't know if the 8 just kind of came up a little bit off the bottom lane or 35 came down there. and they just got hooked up real wrong there and just got right in front there of Ray Fournier. And it was just all madness. That was a hard hit for the 8 machine, and I can only imagine, Weston, that the 8 and the 35 are probably going to be more than likely done after that one.
Another angle. Marcy tried to go 3 wide. Bloom gave him room. Then they side drafted off the right rear of Nichols' truck. Marcy into the safer barrier. So is Nichols. Ray Fournier nowhere to go. And some of those drivers that looked really good, in high hopes of doing good, involved, coming down, crashing off turn 4. Jeff Stabnow driving below the apron. Do you think he's trying to save fuel with 10 to go, Jason?
No, not at all. I mean, he last pitted on lap 58, so they got plenty in the tank right now. I think he's just kind of messing around.
Okay.
You're just doing some shenanigans under pit road or under pace speed. I do the same thing, man, sometimes. So it's going to be really interesting to see, though, if he's able to hold on for this win. And like we mentioned, man, Jeff Stabnow is due for one. No wins last year. And then you got guys behind him who are used to the winning scenario from last season. Sean Brights, Devin West, Kevin Smith. You look at Kevin, 4 wins last year. Dan West Jr. got 2, but we know how good he was in the fixed series. Sean Brightsman, the same could be said for him. 2 wins apiece for him as well. Just great stats along in that entire top 5 to top 10 right there. And there's a couple guys here who are inside this top 10 who have just had stellar nights. Again, look at Frank Harris. Started in the top 10. He's still in this, man. He's sitting 10th right now on the board. Carl Burke sitting in 8th. Toby Ritter's there in 7th. Last win came back at Talladega nearly 2 years ago for the driver of the number 23 machine. Imagine what it would be like if Toby Ritters could get to victory lane here tonight.
Jeff Stabnow is a 3-time winner at Daytona. First time he won was October 29th of 2018. Or in that same year, he won an event, obviously with an Xfinity car for the trucks, mind you. He won the dual race on February 1st, 2018, and he has won the Daytona 200 before. However, it's been a long time. February 8th, 2018 was the last time that Jeff Stabnow went to victory lane in the big race for the Northwest Truck Series. The slump, could it make him a 2-time winner? Right now, driving below the apron of the racetrack. Boy, I'm trying to figure this out. Is he just trying to save as much fuel as he can in the tank, Jason? That he can as we come to single digits and 9 to go?
I mean, he could very well be, just in case of the overtime. But like I said, I mean, I'm like 99.9% sure he's probably good on fuel. So in fact, he pitted lap 58 like a majority of these guys up here at the front. So I'm looking at the pit board, and everybody blast pitted over at least lap 58 to 62, 66. I'm seeing. I mean, all these guys are pretty much good on pit road. It's just going to be about probably how much did you put in the tank, more than likely, to make it. Right. Because to shorten the pit stop, remember, you can decide how much fuel you want to take. Just like any NASCAR video game, here on the sim, you can decide how many gallons you want to put in the tank. You put in some fuel at certain mile-and-a-half tracks, it's going to make you loose. The more you put in the truck, the looser it's going to be. The less you put, the tighter it's going to be. So obviously, that compared with time on pit road, you want to spend as less time as possible, but you want to make sure you fill it enough just to make it to the end. They could be saving a little bit of fuel, but again, I can't imagine them probably saving fuel. But you never know. Again, we're only optimated to so much knowledge and stats and so forth up here in the booth. We don't know what's going on in these cockpits. For all we know, Jeff Stabnow could be blowing up right now, possibly. His tank, his engine could be overheating. We don't know. It just goes to show you that the unpredictability here on the sim. And I mean, Jeff Stabnow is sitting right now in a great position. He would not want to give this away by any means.
It'll be 8 laps to go when we come back for the restart, and that is about to happen. Let's pause for 10 seconds of network identification and get you to the finish next. Back here at Daytona International Speedway, and the restart is about to happen with 8 laps to go here at the World Center of Racing. Along with Jason Rockefeller, I am Wesley Outland, Jeff Stabnow, Sean Breitzman on the front row to determine the Daytona 200, the round 1 of season 11. Back to green. It is go time, as it looks like drivers in the middle of the pack did not fire behind Chad Malik. They finally get up to speed. Somehow they hold it together. Garber on the bottom of the racing line as the leaders rock and roll into turn 1.
All the way down into turn number 1, everybody shifts around trying to figure out what lane they want to go with, who they want to go with, and so forth. It's 7.5 laps to go at Daytona. You got what you got. You want to try to get to the front, and that's what Sean Breitzman is doing. He's got help from Kevin Smith back behind him, with Tyler King as well as they head into turn number 3.
Back to it again in the corner. White to the outside. King right there. Ritter's right there. 2, 3 wide. It's about to be go time. Behind them, 3 wide. Sean Breitzman. Wow, in the middle. Stabnow stays to the inside. Smith up high. Oh my goodness. You know it was going to, here we go, Jason. Here it is. It's stealth mode time.
Stealth mode time, but you got to be loud about it, man. You got to make your presence known if you're getting to the front of this field right now. And Sean Breitzman, man, I don't know how he was able to maintain up top on that outside lane, because he was getting shipped through the middle. Somehow, some way, they were able to make it work, and it's crazy to think he's still in contention right now. 6 laps to go, this time by from the World Center of Racing. It's Breitzman outside, Stabnow inside. They're going 3 wide behind him. That's the 11 of Roy Grande in the middle. 1 truck out of line. That's the Paul Newton Designs Ford F-150 to the inside. He'll climb the banking back onto the racetrack, and all good. They're in the middle of the pack as they head into turn number 2. This pack kind of spreads apart, but they're all still flying at over 175 miles an hour.
Back straightaway. Breitzman up high. King up on behind him, as well as Smith. And then you've got a veteran drivers and Stabnow to the bottom. So is also Dan West Jr., Brett Johnson, who has slowly but surely earned his stripes, ironically on the number 7, to be with the Team LSRTV group. 3 wide, 5 to go here at Daytona, and Stabnow is locked to the bottom into turn 1. He's catfishing, Jason.
Catfishing for sure, probably there on the bottom of the racetrack. Everybody going 3 wide behind them as they exit turn number 2. This time down the back straightaway. Sean Breitzman in the middle. Will they glide? There we go. Look out of line.
Trucks wrecking. 1 is James Vining, Ryan Bloom, and Crash, Harris, Johnson. So many others involved. We got 1 going airborne, upside down, flying through the air. The big one has happened. The field has imploded from within. Oh no, Ritters.
Oh!
Paulison still crashing into Ryan Bloom. Kim and others. The big one. Oh boy. Oh man.
Gosh. That's half the dang field.
Oh my.
Oh, and here comes Ryan Bloom. Watch this here in just a second. This is Tyler Kim in the 38 machine. He looked to be all about clear. And then Ryan Bloom just absolutely plows him in the rear tailgate there heading into turn number 1. I don't know if something happened to the 25 or what, but man, it was terrible. And it all started right here. There was a side draft gone wrong. The 88 of Chris Kynes got out of line. And oh boy, 1 truck up into the fence.
There's that 1 airborne. Yeah, that's King. King was airborne. That's why I told you I saw a truck up in the air. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. So many top contenders that had a shot to win this Hopes or Dash virtually here in Daytona. Oh my.
Yeah. I thought that was the 38 of Tyler Kim that got hit from behind right there, but that was the 25 Ryan Bloom. He hit the 58 machine, I believe, of Stephen Paulison on the exit of turn number 1, and it was really, really bad right there.
And guess what happens? Now we prepare what it looks like to be overtime. We'll take a break. We'll get ready for that. Jeff Stab now is still the man in the lead. Can he get his second Daytona 200? We'll find out overtime. One coming up next. We're also at the top of the hour. We'll pause for 10 seconds of network identification on CRN, the Community Radio Network.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Of speed, 10 years of stories. For the past 10 years, we've been more than just spectators. We've been the heartbeat of local racing, growing alongside the tracks, drivers, and fans who make it all possible. From the dusty turns to the checkered flags, we've shared every triumph and every challenge, making memories that last a lifetime. As we mark this milestone, we're not just looking back, we're revving up for the future. We are expanding, bringing you even more racing, more coverage, and more ways to connect with the adrenaline-fueled world we love. Our commitment to the local racing community is unwavering, and the next chapter promises to be our most exciting yet.
We're a racing family that you can trust on and off the track. Here at Hercules Foundation Repair, we are here to help with our free in-home evaluations and personal repair plans. So if you're looking for foundation repair, go online or give us a call to schedule your free inspection.
Welcome back to Daytona. We are ready for the restart. So here's the deal. We are going into overtime number one. First race of the year. Jason Rockefeller, would you have it any other way? Let our audience know how 2 attempts of GWC will be at Daytona.
So the 2 attempts at green, white, checkered, obviously these guys will, like it's just said, they're going to take the green, they'll come back around, take the white flag, and then come back around again for the second time, and they'll take the checkered flag. Race will be over, but if the caution comes out with 2 laps to go right here, you will restart, we'll re-rack them, restack them, we'll do it all over again. And if the caution comes out in the second attempt with 2 laps to go, race is over, but I believe they will not do that. They will let these guys race it out. So we're going to have to find out and see, will we need all 2 attempts? We're going to find out.
They take that CRN one to go, all bets are off. And by the way, there's still like, what, 20 trucks that have a shot? Like literally all in this pack. Look at this here now. Back to restart. Overtime 1 in the Daytona 200. And Jeff Stab now in front. Biggest thing, Jason, that Jeff's got going for him, he's got allies and he's got friends in the top 2 rows. But not for long. Gormley is after him, and so is Smith in the 001 Brightsman.
Yeah, and this field is about to shake up here down this back straightaway. Primarily, everybody running along the bottom side of the racetrack, where you're going to start to see drivers go to the outside here in just a second. It's Stab now, and then Dan West Jr. pushing him. Kevin Smith pushing Brightsman. Who's going to win it? They're coming to the white flag this time.
Stab now drifting up high, left rear. Dan West Jr. there up under him. Gormley side draft into his teammate Brightsman.
Oh,
and now they Brightsman is in the grass at full speed. They take the white flag. Sean Brightsman crashing into the pit lane. One more lap to go at Daytona. And Stab now falls back. Ryan Gormley, the prodigy, in the lead in turn 1. Smith in the wall.
Oh my goodness, and they're all still trying to wreck. There goes Troy. They're down. Lowther's up into the wall. They're crashing on the back straightaway. They're side by side. Look at Troy Daggett. He's going to make it 3 wide to the inside of Gormley and Stab now, while Dan West Jr. pushes Jeff Stab now to the race lead in 3 and 4.
Stab now from the top to the bottom. From the apron comes Daggett. Daggett to the outside. Looking inside. Stab now in front. Teammate Dan West Jr. behind. Daggett got turned. He got turned into Gormley. Dan West Jr.'s in the wall. And Jeff Stab now wins his second Daytona 200. Big crash behind them. Grande involved. Somehow Ryan Burns will score second. Ryan Gormley will finish third. He crashed after he crossed the start-finish line. Jeff Stab now is the winner of his second Daytona 200. And Jason, more importantly, he has punched his ticket into the postseason from round number 1 of the year.
Too much going on those last 2 laps, man. I'm out of breath, even though I only smoked a little bit, man. That was absolutely crazy. Troy Daggett, man, he gave it everything he could, but unfortunately he just kind of pulls the Ross Chastain like in this year's Daytona 500. Tried to go to the inside, had a car there, unfortunately got turned, and then all heck broke loose heading into the tri-oval. And Jeff Stab now, man, what a job for the driver of the 24. Thought he was a sitting duck, but if it wasn't for the help of his teammate Dan West Jr., man, it would have not happened. So he's going to have to buy him dinner probably, more than likely. What a job by Jeff Stab now to get back to victory lane.
Oh boy, oh boy. Jeff Stab now has won the Daytona 200. The sigh of relief has got to come for this man, no doubt. Looking at stats on the driver of Jeff Stab now, the last time he won in the series, okay, the last win was, of course, oh my goodness, if the information is correct, third of 2020. No, hang on, let me move ahead here. Looking at all of his information of wins is what I'm trying to find. Boy, what an amazing opportunity for Jeff Stab now, getting back to victory lane. Obviously dominated really big time in the 2020s. 2021, he might have got a win, and he kind of went on a slump from there. Man, what a moment. Jeff Stab now is going to celebrate. Are we going to have the Northwest High Five salute? Jason, do we have enough trucks?
Oh, you just missed it. Oh, you just missed it all. It already happened.
I know, but I was just like, yeah, I was like, I don't think it was a lot. So, okay, here it is. Last win was August 5th, 2023, as you aforementioned, at Kansas in the Xfinity Series. Now, before that was a win, as you mentioned, the last time he won a race was October 3rd, 2022 in the Cup Series of Northwest. For the trucks, May 14th. Okay? July 2nd, 2020. It's the last time he won a truck race. You know where that was? Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, July 30th at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, the last time he won in the Northwest Truck Series. Brian Barnes will be below Jeff Stabnow for second. Ryan Gormley, the prodigy, he gave him a run to the end to try to win. He'll finish third. Dan West Jr. crashed out for fourth, and Troy Daggett as well in the top 5. Bryce Clark, Stephen O'Hare, Tyler Kim, Chase Carrillo with problems early, along with Roy Grande, Jason. They'll still finish in the top 10 of this one.
Yeah, and then we head back to a lot of the drivers who crashed in that final lap. Stephen Paulson, Ray Fournier, Frank Harris, 13th. Brett Johnson, 14th. Toby Ritters comes home inside the top 15. Carl Burke there in 16th. You have Malik Newton, Kevin Smith, despite really dominating the first portion of this race, comes home 19th. And then Dan Lowther turned on the final lap out of turn 2. He'll come home 20th to wrap up the top 20.
Rest of the rundown including Robert Gamble, Sean Brightsman, Dennis Moore, Chris Kynes, Joshua Marcy, top 25, all multiple laps down. Tyler King, Joshua Cushman, James the Catman Vining, Ryan Bloom, the pole driver, and Gary Nichols, top 30. And, of course, there it is, the rest of the rundown. Chris White, understanding he got involved in an incident. The engine blew. He won't be back until Richmond, is what he was telling me in Messenger. Scott Hutchinson, Russ Lundberg, 33rd, Kenneth Garber, Ron Hunter, and William Fletcher. Final race summary of an overtime attempt of 1 in the Daytona 200. It's presented by Virginia811.com, reminding you to dig with care, and there it is for the final time. 5 caution, 15 caution laps, 21 lead changes when this race was done. Jeff Stabnow, July of 2020, last time he won in the trucks. He gets his second Daytona 200. We'll talk to him next. Welcome back to Daytona, the 2024 edition of the Daytona 200 in the books. Of course, it did go into overtime at the end of 82 laps, an extra 5 miles. Jeff Stabnow is a winner, two-time winner. He's won this race before, back in 2018. His last time he won the Northwest Truck Series was at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. I think that was my first year in the booth with LSRTV broadcasting. I think I interviewed him, tried to talk to him. He crashed and he still come back to win at Quebec Corner. Jeff Stabnow, congratulations. The slump is over. You told me on phone Saturday afternoon you literally had to dust off the rig to set up for this night. Man, what's it mean to be a two-time winner at Daytona? What a crazy race, too, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, that's my fourth Daytona win. Overall, counting the cars, too. So, feel pretty good about that. Finally caught Mark Walls there for wins here in this series at Daytona. So, yeah, pretty excited. It took me twice as many races it took him, but I got there. No, it feels great to be back in winner's circle. Didn't really like the way those last 2 laps went. I was probably cost Sean the wreck there at the end. I wasn't real happy about that. So, but it's fun. It's great. Got great teammates, and wouldn't have been here without their help. So, just grateful to have such great teammates, and excited to have that monkey off the back, Wesley.
I guess Jason isn't here. I didn't realize that. My apologies. Jeff, if you go back to the race itself, man, what's your take of all of the talent? I want to say that as somebody that's been a long-time driver, most starts of anybody in the series as well, and you over 40 wins now. What's your take of the competition that you think we're going to see this year in 2024?
Oh, I think it's going to be really tough competition, especially around one series, right? So everybody's going to be focused on the truck series. You're not going to be splitting your time between 2 series this year. I mean, we got a lot of good guys. So, I mean, we've got I think Justin Yee's got over 7,000 iRating, which is, I mean, that's higher than a lot of the pros. You know, you got Lake Peterson, he's Lake Peterson, and then you still got Sean and Ryan and Kevin and Dennis, and I mean, it is going to be. Devin will be back, I'm sure, at some point. So, it's going to be crazy talented here in this league this year. I think it's going to be getting a win here at Daytona was huge because it's going to be hard to get wins this year.
Final question, and segue this into thanking your sponsors. What was it like for you in that rig? Those final 10, 15 laps when you got up in front. And one of the things I said in the booth is you had allies and you had friends. How important was that to determine the outcome of you winning the race?
Well, to answer the second part of that, the allies and the friends were everything, right? We get up there up front. There's no way I stay up there without Dan and Sean and Brett just sitting there beating on our bumpers there. Dan pushed me around there at the end. He gave me a hell of a shove down the backstretch, or I wouldn't have cleared Troy Daggett and Ryan Gormley there. So, yeah, having friends meant everything there. What was I thinking? To be honest with you, there's so much going through my head. I told these guys there at the end of the race in the team speak there that I really wasn't processing all this information fast enough. Just so much information to process, and I felt like I was a step behind, man. So it was crazy, but the teammates got me through it. Sean's always the voice of reason, and Dan just glued his bumper to the back of mine and really pushed me to win. I mean, I don't win this race without Dan on my bumper there.
Well, Jeff, before we let you go, buddy, thank your sponsors. And, man, if you run enough races needed, which I know you'll do that, you're in the playoffs. At the end of the running, you're in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, there we go. That's awesome, man. And, as far as the sponsors, man, great thanks to CRN, Wesley. We're on CRN here. You broadcast us live on CRN there in North Carolina, which is just crazy if you think about it, sitting here in Montana or Washington or Idaho or Oregon and running your races and being on radio in North Carolina. So I think that's pretty awesome. A big shout out to CRN and you and your team with that. And then, of course, LSRTV and what you and Charles and Jason do is year after year just keeps getting better. I think, I'm biased, but you guys are the best in the business, and it's just it's awesome to have LSRTV and CRN on the truck.
Jeff Stabdown from Billings, Montana breaks a 4-year streak last time in 2020. It is over now. His 429th career start ends with win number 41 to add along with 169 top 5s and 274 top 10s. Jeff Stabdown is the winner of the Daytona 200 of 2024. Let's grab now the second place finisher of the race. It is Brian Barnes. I believe that Brian Barnes is not available for post-race interviews. I believe we're going to try to grab the top 5. So we will grab the third place man, and that is the Chevrolet of Ryan Gormley. Ryan, first off, great to hear from you again. I spoke highly of you last year in your rookie season in the Xfinity Series of the Northwest. What's it mean to beat and bang with these guys in the trucks? And obviously, you were right in contention to win the Daytona 200 as well.
Yeah, it's fun to be back racing again. A little bit later start than usual, but man, it's just good to get the heart racing again. Good clean race most of the time, but just try to stay clean. Some close calls for sure, right there at the end, and had the lead on the backstretch. Those guys, I didn't want to throw a nasty block or anything. I want to try to keep it clean, so the group of us could at least make it to the end, and yeah, ended up third, and just a little bit contact right there on the tri-oval.
Ryan Gormley, what is the front of running with the Northwest Truck Series competitors compared to the, if you will, Xfinity guys?
It's pretty similar. A lot of the same guys from last year, but sounds like with a lot of the high I ratings, there's going to be some good talent this year, and open setup, so got to put some time into that. So definitely got to do your homework.
Well, buddy, before I let you go, I want to ask you one more question, and you can segue that into also thanking your sponsors. What was your take of how the way things went down? What was through your mind in that overtime, the way things went for overtime number 1 for you here? What was your plan that you wanted to have happen?
Just try not to get caught up in it, and luckily we barely skated by, and so that took us into the second, into that overtime, and just try to stay clean, and found myself at the front, but couldn't finish it off. Definitely a lot of props go out to the other racers. Race mostly clean.
Ryan, thank your sponsors, buddy.
Yeah, I'd like to thank my girlfriend Haley, and my parents, and George Distributing. We're wine and beer down here in Montana, so yeah, you guys, LSRTV, wouldn't be as fun without you guys. So appreciate all the hard work you guys put into it.
The Prodigy now moving into the Northwest Truck Series. His 35th career start tonight in Daytona. Ended up with, of course, 12 top 5s, 22 top 10s in the Northwest Trucks or Northwest Racing Series overall. He does have 2 wins to his credit. That is Ryan Gormley. He'll finish in the number 3 position. I believe we got the 4th place finisher of the race as well. Dan West Jr., your take of another wild one tonight here at Daytona.
It was fun. I think we as a team had a strategy of just trying to stay out of trouble. I thought there would be more wrecks than what there were. I thought the whole field did a hell of a job. I thought the drivers did great. Things just kind of worked out for us, I believe. We pitted. Sean had a good strategy of coming in and pitting, so we strategized that, and it put us up front, and then we basically just trying to stay out of trouble up there and push our teammates to the lead.
As a former champion and winner in the Northwest, were you a fan of the no fast repair?
Yes, I like it. I think it just changes things up. I mean, it creates just different strategy, especially in plate racing. I mean, you really have to think about your moves, you know what I mean, versus taking it 3 wide. So I like it. I just it kind of brings in that real reality of real racing. So you don't get that fast repair with a real race car. So I'm looking forward to it.
Dan, let's go back to the restart, man. Obviously, being right bunched up with Team LSRTV drivers, what was your thoughts there? Was there any time that you wanted to try to go by Jeff or push out of line, or was it just literally, did you guys have a plan for what y'all needed to do at the end of the race, like the way Win Racing came down the pit lane first before anybody did in the first opening 20 laps of the race? Was it all strategy? Was there things y'all talked about in getting Jeff Stabnow the win?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've seen Win Racing pit, and we talked about that, and we didn't talk about it to begin with. We didn't really have a strategy, but we just kind of started building our strategy as the race went on, and kind of as the cautions fell, and then that's when Sean's like, hey, I think we should pit here at this time, and don't take tires, and that's what we did, and it really worked out well for us. We really didn't even want to see that caution, to be honest with you, but like I say, once it come down to 2 to go, we kind of, our plan was to push each other all the way to the end within, coming off turn 4, then it was every man for himself pretty much.
Well, Dan, before we let you go, man, thank your sponsors. What does it mean, by the way, in closing, to have your teammate Jeff Stabnow get back in victory lane in a slump of almost 4 years?
Well, I think as a team, I think if you asked anybody on our team who we'd like to see win this race, it would be Jeff Stabnow. So it really worked out great. He's way over deserving for this deal. Works really hard behind the scenes. Him and Sean both, that you guys don't even see, don't even have a clue. So it is awesome to see him win, and this won't be his last win for the year. So congratulations to him. Effective Web Solutions, LSRTV, CRN, and you guys in the booth, appreciate all you do.
In his 278th career Northwest start, the driver has credited 45 wins in his career. Tonight will be his 150th top 5 and 215th career top 10. The driver, of course, out of Shelton, Washington, Dan West Jr. Well, of course, Jason and myself enjoyed bringing it to you. We now begin the run of the meat and potatoes of the schedule. It starts at Legacy, Atlanta. LSRTV CRN airtime next Monday night. Not April Fool's Day, April 1st for real at 11:15 Eastern, 8:15 Pacific. For everybody at Rocket Racing Media and iRacing on LSRTV and the Community Radio Network, for Jeff Stabnow, Charles Wooten, Jason Rockefeller, this is Wesley Outland. Congratulations to Jeff Stabnow, Billings, Montana's number 24. His 41st win is the Daytona 200, and it's on to Atlanta next week.